Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Move Makers Home Decor. We are at All Up in Your Wreath Business Podcast today with Miss Tammy Hodges.
Hey, friends.
You guys, this is Tammy Hodges. She is the owner of Polka Dot Wreath Company, and she is also one of my favorite Deco Exchange Coaches as well. So I'm super excited to have her on the show. As you guys come in, welcome to the All Up in Your Wreath Business Podcast. We normally do this every Sunday, but today we're in for a special treat with Miss Tammy as she is away to Crafters Convention.
Yeah. Hence the hotel room behind me, y'all. Sorry for I'm in a hotel room.
Yes, I'm so excited about all the things. So I want to start off and get a little bit more back history about who you are and like kind of what you did before you got into crafting and then how you pivoted into making like some of your first designs. So could you tell us a little bit about what you used to do before you got into the craft world?
Well, where do I start? I was in the military straight out of high school. And I thought I was going to be a nurse. That lasted a very short amount of time. I realized I have a much weaker stomach than I thought I did. And that didn't work for me. So I was a soldier for 2 years. And then I came home and I worked for Assemblies of God headquarters. I know.
Oh, wow.
I'm a little sassy, so that's going to surprise me. I worked for Assemblies of God national headquarters for several years. My whole family kind of worked there. And then after it was in the mid 90s, 97, 98, I decided that I wanted to become a paralegal, go to law school. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get my degree, get my bachelor's in paralegal studies, and then do undergrad and go eventually to law school. And so I started that. I became a paralegal. I was a criminal defense assistant for about 10 years.
Wow.
And I loved what I did. My specialty was DWIs. So I did that for a long time. Loved what I did every day. I loved it. It was a rush to me. And I was an adrenaline junkie. I didn't have any kids at the time. And I loved it. So after that, I adopted my daughter in 2004. And when that happened, I decided law school's out of the conditions. You can't really go to law school. Where I live, there's only 2 places you can go to law school, Kansas City or Columbia, and 3, St. Louis, but they were all 200 miles away. I had a child in my home now that you can't be away and come home every other weekend when you have a child like that.
Yeah.
So I very quickly decided that I was going to give up my pretty lucrative career in law and go back to school and get my degree in teaching so I could have summers off and have her schedule. I got tired. I worked a lot of criminal trials and a lot of long 18-hour days in counties that were not close to me. And one time they called me and Brittany was thrown up at school and they said, you got to come get her. I was in the middle of a jury trial. The judge said, if you leave, we're going to have to declare a mistrial. And I had to choose between my job and my child. My mom and dad had to drive an hour and a half from their home to come get her. And that day after that trial was done, after the jury selection was done, I told my boss I would stay through the trial for the next 10 days, but I was giving my notice and I quit my job that day and returned to school to be a teacher. So I wanted to be a mom more than I wanted a career.
Right.
And then we went to my husband was in the military, went to Fort Bragg, and the rest is really history. I started crafting in my basement at Fort Bragg, and this happened.
It just
happened. Totally by accident. I went to Carolina Pottery. A lot of you guys are familiar with that. I went to Carolina Pottery. Miss Julie Samaco is real familiar with Carolina Pottery. And Carolina Pottery is actually the place where I heard Julie's name for the first time.
Okay.
In 2011, she had just written an ebook. And the Smithfield, North Carolina, somebody there that was doing flowers. I saw this mesh wreath and we got to chit-chatting and she gave me Julie's name. I went home and immediately bought that ebook. And the rest is honestly history. The reason I do mesh wreaths today is because of Carolina Pottery and Julie Samaco, honestly.
Yes. I've read a preview of like a brief overview of the ebook. I need to read the whole thing. It was a very inspiring story how she decided to go ahead and make the ebook. So maybe I should reach out to her. That's
I mean, for years, you didn't know what you didn't know. And there weren't Facebook groups back then. There weren't wreath communities back then. If you reached out to somebody, good luck. It wasn't like that. They would be like, why do you want to know anything? Are you copying off of me? And Julie was the one that, kind of stepped out of her comfort zone and was teaching people how to do it. And so I followed her ebook, and then I joined her free with the ebook. At that time, we had a free, I don't even know what you call it anymore. It's been so many years ago, but it was like a free chat room. Oh, okay. And you could go in there and chat that way. But yeah, that was all the help you got.
Wow. So that is awesome. That's really amazing. So you started making a wreath. What kind of wreath did you make? Was a mesh wreath?
It was a mesh wreath. I went to Carolina Pottery, and they wanted $85 for a wreath. And listen, I was a military family. My husband was deployed. $85 to somebody that was a teacher on a teaching salary, which I wasn't working then, but somebody that was on a military salary. We made under $50,000 a year. $85 at that time was a lot of money to me. Yeah, and I was like, I can't pay $85 for that, but I'm crafty. I can make a bow. I don't know what that stuff is. It looks like the stuff you take a bath with. All I can think is, I'm going to figure this out. So I realized they had a lot of mesh, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be bad. But it was a Halloween wreath. I wanted it, and I couldn't pay $85. So instead, now this is funny. This is so cliche. I couldn't pay $85, but my bill that day when I checked out literally was probably $120 because I had to get
because you bought more than the wreath.
I should have just bought the wreath. It's so true.
I'm glad that you didn't, and you bought the supplies because you just kept going after that.
I liked it. I thought it was fun, and I got Julie's ebook, and I thought, well, I could do this, and then I thought, well, I could make a patriotic one after this Halloween one, and I put it on my front porch, and how my business, not really even a business back then, but how it got started of me making more and more. I stuck that wreath on my front door, and we lived in what's called Bestone Gables, which is the oldest community on Fort Bragg. But we happened to be right in the middle of the MP Brigade. Our housing was right in the middle of where all the units took PT in the morning. So there was no sleeping in because they did PT and they were screaming and running and doing this. Well, my doorbell rang at like 6:00 in the morning. And if you know anything about the military, you know that if your doorbell rings and your husband is deployed at 6 a.m., my heart, I thought something terrible had happened. My daughter woke up. She ran upstairs. We thought for sure there would be a chaplain on our front porch. There would be no reason anybody would ring our doorbell at 6 a.m. And anyway, this young private was standing there in his PT gear, sweating. And he said, hey, I'm really sorry to bother you, but my wife, we drove by here the other day, and my wife asked you where you got your wreath. So I told him, I said, first of all, it's 6:15 in the morning.
Right.
You don't knock on people's door unless it's an emergency. He was like 18 years old. Brand new. I mean, you could tell he was a baby. He was like 18 or 19 years old. And I literally, in that moment, became his mother. I schooled him on the front porch of my house. I said, don't you ever do this to anybody else. First of all, this is what I'm going to tell you. And then I told him, I said, but if you'll come back after 9:00 formation, I will tell you where I got it. But if you literally, he's like, do you make them? And I told him, I said, listen, I'll make you one just for the supplies. Just bring me $20 back. Because by that point, I had a few rolls of mesh, and I thought, I could get by with doing it. So I was just charging the soldiers $20, $25, whatever they wanted on their wreath. I'd make it at cost. I kind of felt like it was my charity to do for the soldiers. I would make it for them if they just paid for the supplies. So that's really how it started. I didn't have a business until we moved home. It was a year and a half later. Almost. Yeah, that was 2011. I started my business, and actually that was around August of 2011, because Mike didn't come home till October. And then I started my business August 25th of 2013. So yeah, it was a complete fluke. I had intentions of coming home, working at the school that I left at. I was going to finish my master's degree, and God just had other plans for us. So
That's pretty amazing. That's
Yeah.
pretty amazing. So I know you also used to have your own group. How did you kind of pivot into teaching other people how to create and make designs?
Well, I was a teacher. Of course, my degree was
Oh
in
yeah.
teaching. And I didn't teach, honestly, I didn't ever teach for very long. After I got my degree, Mike went in the military, and I did long-term sub-assignments, and I only had one of my own classrooms. Well, technically two of my own classrooms. So I didn't teach for years and years. But it was in my blood. It's what I knew. It's what I loved. I love seeing the aha moments on kids and people in general. I love it when somebody gets something and you see that aha moment on their face.
Yeah.
So I was making wreaths on Facebook Lives in 2017. And every day people were asking me, how do you do this? Oh my gosh, I've never seen that method before. I've never seen that before. How do you do this? And I would get, and I mean, dozens and dozens of people in my inbox every single day asking me questions. And I met Damon Oates and I started coaching with him in 2018 when he opened up his business coaching. I did the one-on-one coaching. And during one of our one coaching, he said, what? I said, Damon, I feel like I'm at a crossroads in my business. I don't know what to do. Keep in mind, I had just opened and closed a brick and mortar store. And he said, what are people asking you for?
Yeah.
And I said, for directions. They constantly ask me how I do stuff. And he said, there you go. They're not asking you for supplies. They're asking you to teach them how to do it. And you're already showing that, because I did a very basic wreath, which I always do that on my live, just a regular woodland ruffle with my tails and my bow. And they were just really interested in that. And I just listened to him. What are people asking you for? And that's what you should always do. I now know that 4 years later, I always say when I'm stuck in my business somewhere, what are people asking you for right now? Yeah. What are they asking you? It could pivot at any time. It could pivot. What are they asking you for?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's really true. All right, y'all. This is why she's one of my favorite business coaches.
Uh-oh, here we go.
So how did you meet Damon? Like, how did you guys get to know each other? Oh my gosh,
that is a funny story. I had a brick and mortar in Rogersville, Missouri. We took Mike, because of Mike's injury. My husband was injured in Afghanistan. Because of Mike's injury, I had to stay home with him. And my dream was to own a boutique. I thought I wanted to listen, friends. I learned that was not my dream after all. That was a fantasy, and there is a real difference. Anyway, I thought it was going to be super fun and super easy and bells and roses, and it was not. But I opened up this brick and mortar, spent our life savings on it, what we had gotten from the military, and I opened this brick and mortar. And one night, about 1 or 2 in the morning, my computer, it was kind of like that "Who's Got Mail" ding, and I looked at my computer and somebody had messaged me at I literally was at my shop at 1:30 in the morning making wreaths because I could not keep enough in stock, because the word had gotten out this chick makes $40 wreaths and they're big. And yes, I said $40.
Yeah.
So all the real estate people, it was Christmas time. So all the real estate people and all the bankers, they were all buying them by the armfuls every day. Wow. So my goal was to have 25 wreaths on my wall every day when I opened my shop at 10 a.m. Well, my messenger dinged, and I looked and it said Damon Oates. Well, I knew who Damon was from that summer. He came on the scene. As you guys know, the summer of 2017, spring, summer, Damon came on the scene, but I never saw his face. I only saw his hands.
Oh, yeah.
Who is this dude? Why can I not see your face? Do you have horns? What is wrong? Why can't I see your face? I'm one of those people that I can't just do the hand. I need to see your face. And anyway, he was like, hey, what are you doing up so late? And he said something like that. And I said, I'm at my shop making wreaths. And we just struck up a friendship. He gave really good advice. He's like, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm out of wreaths. I had 25 on my walls and I've got to make 25. He said, it's 1 a.m. Right? I said, well, I'll go home about 6:30 or 7 and sleep for a couple hours. He goes, oh, you're going to burn out really quickly. That's not going to last. And over the next few months, we just struck up a friendship, and he opened up business coaching. I said, can I please be your first client? Can want to be one of your people because he was giving me really solid advice. Everything he was telling me to do panned out. And I thought, man, who is this stranger that wants to give me advice and he doesn't want anything in return? Like, I mean, of course I paid him after business coaching, but it was never I'll do this for you if you do this. You know what I mean? Like, now he did tell me, I will coach you if you will raise your prices, because if you don't, then there's no sense in me coaching you because it won't work.
Yeah.
And so he literally told me, you have to, I said, well, what do you mean raise? I'm thinking like $50. Okay. Like I can charge $50. He said, double them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, I'm sorry, what? He said, double your prices today. So I got on Etsy and I doubled my prices and I sold one in a matter of a few hours. And I was like, I immediately, did you buy that wreath? I'm like, somebody just paid me $95 for a wreath. Oh my gosh. I was so surprised. That I thought he bought it just to prove, because he's a right fighter like I am. That's why we get along so well, because we like to prove people wrong.
Yeah.
So, I thought he bought my wreath. That really is how it started. And we just became friends from there. We're both straight shooters. We don't really beat around the bush. And I liked that. I liked that, I was leery. Don't think I wasn't, because, I thought, who is this stranger doing this? I was leery for several months. But when I realized he was the real deal and a straight shooter, I am the type of personality that I need someone to be blunt with me, even if it hurts my feelings.
Yeah.
I need you to be my friend, but I need you to tell me the truth more.
Right.
And he could do that for me. So it worked.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. That is amazing. So how did he get you to coach? How did that happen?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know if I'm supposed to tell this story, but I'm going to. Damon, if you're watching this, love me past the forgiveness, man. I won't tell one part of the story, but I'll tell the other part. So we were talking one day and he said, I got to look back at the text. I think maybe it was in voicemail. I don't remember, but he told me he had a dream that I was working for him or something. And I was like, what? And I said, well, the only way that I would do that, not like I have a dream that you work for me, but literally he had a nighttime, like a sleeping dream. I think that's what it was. And I said, well, I'll tell you. I said, that's hilarious, but you are the only person I would ever work for. And I said, that's hilarious. I wasn't looking. My group was, 400 strong. I wasn't looking. I had no intentions of looking. And then the more we talked about it, we just started talking it out, and it made more sense to me. He knew, because he was my coach, he knew some of my frustrations with my group. I love the people in my group, but the back end of having a group is the hardest thing to do. Yeah. Legitimately, it took the fun out of it for me. And when things start to not be fun for me, I start not to be a good coach. Yeah. And I start not to be a good teacher. So when you take the fun out of things, for me anyway, I don't put the effort into it as much. And I felt like it was starting to show. But the main problem was, when you are a coach and you have your own private group, there's a lot of time that equates to money. And I was making, and I'm pretty transparent about this, I was making anywhere between $6,000 and $8,000 a month doing it. But when I tell you I was spending about $4,500 to $5,000 chasing that money, I'm not kidding. I spent 10 to 15 days a month being a bill collector, fixing people's problems with their computers or their passwords, or just a lot of back end stuff. Yeah. And I just couldn't do it. I'm not customer service. There's a reason Damon and I don't do customer service. I'm not good at it either. That's why we get along, because I'm like, what is the matter with you? Why are you doing that? I'm just not. I'm patient when I teach, but I'm not patient with tech things and collecting money and things. It was hard. I just didn't like that. And we looked into, my coach said, look into this program. They collect the money for you. Oh, okay. And I thought about that. And then we revisited me working for him. And first of all, I love the business model that Damon has created. I will tell you, I think, and I know I'm biased, but I'm also honest when I tell you, I think that Damon's business portal is the #1 business coaching portal I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is.
No other business coach or no other coaching program has 2 coaches a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Nobody else can do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you have a question, if we don't have the answer, we'll find it. So I loved his business model, and I trusted them, and I loved what they wanted for the community. I loved that. So that's all. I loved that the community and the coaching students have always been their #1 priority. Yeah. And I love that. I love that. So I joined.
Yes, we're excited about it. So, you also coach for the business coaching, and you also have some events coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about what you got coming up next, girl?
I have partnered with Sincerely Creative Mom, Melissa Morrow. Everybody knows her by 15 different names, so I just have to go through all of them. I call her America's sweetheart, so there's another one. She hates it when I say that, but I'm like, you are America's sweetheart. Anyway, we have partnered up, and this last weekend we did craft shows and classes. We've done that the last 2 years. It's a virtual event, and so she and I partnered up. She flew to Springfield, and we do it at my studio. And then in October of this year, for the last couple of years, people have been begging me to do an event. And Mel did her first event in April. I did one in 2019. And then Mel did one in April of this year that I went and helped her with. And I was going to do one in Branson in this fall. And then we found out that I don't know how I'm from Branson and Springfield and did not know that their peak season is September through December. It's actually not in the summer. Oh. But I'm like, I never realized that. I've always been bumper to bumper traffic in the summer. But they said actually our highest grossing season is September to December. So the hotel prices doubled and tripled. So the convention that I was going to end up getting to get hotel rooms for $120 went to $275 a night. And so Branson was off the charts. So Mel was like, let's do something together. We were both like, oh my gosh, yes. So we are hosting what's called Fill Your Creative Cup. I get so excited when I talk about this. I'm so proud of it. Fill Your Creative Cup with Cheer. And it is in Port Huron, Michigan. We are literally under the bridge going into Canada.
Right. Yeah.
So it's right there. I went up in April to help her, and it's a beautiful area. I don't know why I was so pleasantly surprised. I don't know what I thought Michigan was. I'd only been to Detroit, which was scary for me the first time I went there. So that's the vision I had. But let me tell you, the city she lives in, there's a lot of lakes, of course, in her area. There's a lot of marinas, and there's a yacht club. Like, it's beautiful up there. The little town, Port Huron, that she lives in is just their little downtown revitalization has worked. It's a beautiful little community. So we're having a Fill Your Creative Cup with Cheer. It is October 27th through the 30th. We are doing in-person and live stream. We just announced that we're doing live stream. So that's going to be super exciting. We have spots for 100 people. We are almost sold out, which is really big for us. We're really, really excited. We have 4 people that we've invited to be on our stage. We have Lisa Kellum. We wanted, when Mel and I started discussing this, we were very purposeful. We both agreed we don't care how big their audience is. We want somebody that has meant something to us in growing our business, or somebody that meant something to us personally. Right. Some events, they put people on stage or whatever that have a huge audience or that get the numbers. We didn't want that. We wanted it to be very personal. So Lisa Kellum with Kellum's Creations, Carrie with Hot Mesh Mom.
Yay!
Yep, she's going to be there. I met Carrie in 2018. So at Wreath Makers Live, she's a hoot. We are going to have Jordan with Designs by Jordan. He's also a fellow coach with me at Deco Exchange. And he's a very, very dear friend of mine. He's like the younger brother that I wish I'd always had. He's he's just hilarious, and he's mad talented. Oh, yeah. And then Megan with Gal versus Glue Gun. Yeah. She's the little sister I wished I always had as well. Right. We have 7 kids. But Megan always made me feel special in a room full of people. And she always, and it's not just me. if she knows you, she just makes you feel special in a room full of 1,000 people. And
Yeah.
people like that come along once in a lifetime. And she was just really special to me. So we asked her to be on our stage, and she's also mad talented. They're all really talented people.
Yeah.
So those 4 ladies plus Mel and I are going to be on the stage in October. So
that is going to be so awesome.
we're doing some fun things. We're doing all theming. Listen, you guys know Mel, and like she told the people this weekend, my house is completely themed. I'm a theme person. She's a theme person. So our logo is a little cup of hot cocoa. So we're going to be doing Thursday. We have our meet and greet with a hot cocoa party, and and then Friday we're going to be doing an ugly sweater day with nope, that's a lie. Is that a lie? No, it is ugly sweater day. I had to think about my schedule. Ugly sweater day with bingo in the evening. And then Saturday we're doing an 80s glow party because it is Halloween weekend. So we got to get a little bit of dress up in there. Mel and I love the 80s. So we're going to do a fun 80s glow party on Saturday night. So
that would be super fun.
Really
I don't know where Mel is going to put anything else on her ugly sweater.
She's not allowed to use it. That was the deal. Oh, yeah. She had to start over from scratch because I said, oh, no, you have a leg up on everybody. You don't get to do that.
Years and years on this
one.
Yeah,
you don't get 15 years in advance. You're not doing that. So I went to bat for all of you guys that are going to be there. I said, no, we're going to make this fair. You got to start over from scratch. But she's already started on her ugly sweater, and she won't tell me anything.
She takes it so seriously.
You
guys, I know Jordan's going. This is about to be a show.
She said, I don't care if I win against anybody as long as I beat Tammy's ugly sweater. So I'm going to find my friend that does costumes for like the theater in our town, and I'm going to have him help me.
Oh, yeah.
Mel, did you hear that?
I'm
gonna
get you.
I'm going to figure it out. I don't know how, but I don't know. She's so creative, and I just don't want to be, her sweater weighs like 22 pounds.
Yes. I was like, what else can she put on there? It lights up every which way.
I can't wait to see what she does.
It is hilarious when she put that sweater on. Lord.
Anybody that will pay for an extra baggage in the airport because of a dang ugly sweater has my vote.
Oh, Lord, that is so funny. That is so funny. I just love when you guys are together. So you guys need to go and check them out at Deco Exchange, and also check them out at Polka Dot Wreath Co. and get your tickets, you guys. October will be coming super fast. And why not go and do something Halloween weekend?
Yep.
For yourself. We always kind of focus on the kids and stuff, having fun. We need to have fun too sometimes.
Yes. I always say that. I always say I try to save some of my business money back, not only to reinvest in my business, but I do 2 conventions a year that I pay for that I want to do. And this year I'm doing Brooke Riley's event next week in Fort Worth. I wanted to do, it's a crafting, but it's an inspirational. I need to be around like-minded people and people that'll lift me up. So she always does a really feel-good event. So I've never gotten to do it. And so I'm doing that one. And I'm going to do Fill Your Creative Cup with Cheer this year. So
yay.
Fun, but try to invest in yourself. Give yourself and network with people. That's so important to do that and be around like-minded people in your business.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So if you've never been to a retreat, you guys, definitely go to a retreat.
Yes. And I will be doing some lives from Crafters Convention this week because I did one this morning putting on makeup, but I really want people to see it's not just about the crafting.
Yes.
It really is not. It's amazing to see your friends and people that you may really admire and stuff on stage. There are people on that stage that I admire. And I'm like, I love getting to see people that may not even be my friends yet, but I'm going to meet somebody new.
Right.
They're going to be my friend before they leave here.
Yes.
So I don't meet a stranger. You may not like me at first, but I'm gonna do something. It'll happen. But I want for people to be able to see the back end of conventions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so important to see it. I mean, Wreath Makers Live 2018 changed the trajectory of my business. I met David for the first time in person. Mel and I met on the bus on the way to dinner.
Oh, wow.
And by mistake, she wasn't even supposed to be on that bus. And we ended up sitting next to each other, and our stories were like parallel.
Right.
We both had adopted children. We both, like at that time, she hadn't adopted her children yet. She was going through the process. Mike and I had gone through that process. Everything she said, it was parallel. And I thought, who is this girl?
Yeah.
God, what are you
Yeah.
doing? You know, I wasn't looking for a best friend, but I sure found one.
Yeah. He put him in. He put it right in your life at the right perfect timing.
Absolutely.
That's amazing, you guys.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, what is something that you would tell a new wreath maker, like just a little nugget for someone starting out their business, a little motivational, a little gem that you would give them?
Don't go into debt for your business.
Mm.
Don't put it on a credit card expecting to get rich overnight. It's not how it works, and you'll get discouraged real quick. And your husband will be a lot less, or your spouse or your partner will be a lot less likely to support you if they have to pay that bill with nothing coming in. I'm telling you that from experience. So that is a truth bomb. But put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to put your wreaths in front of people that are the right people that will give you constructive criticism that you can take. Be prepared for listen, my first wreath looked like it had been run over by a bulldozer. It was bad. My poofs were like 12 inches on each side. And then on this side, they were like 4 inches. I had a leopard print bow with a hot lime green bow. It was bad. It was bad. I could make the bow, but nothing matched on it. It was a situation. And yeah, you've just got to be able to put yourself out there and be willing to take some constructive criticism. Constructive, because if somebody says something ugly to you, that means you're not with the right people. You got to go with the right people that are going to be there to help you grow. So that's what I'm going to tell you. Find the right people that will help you grow and have your best interest at heart.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that's amazing advice. That's really good. Really good. I love it when people come in and drop a good gem, you guys.
You may need some work. And I tell people in coaching all the time, listen, your problem is not you've got it down. You've got it down. You've got the colors, you've got the method down, but your SEO and your photography you'll never be found because of that.
Right.
So I love it when I get to say that. Now, very rarely do I have to say, what I want for you to do is to look at your budget and see if you can afford creative coaching. Now, what I don't do is I never say that on a live with 100 people in the room, because that's very personal. And that's a great way to get somebody to never, ever want to share their craft or their gift. I don't like to call it a craft. I think it's a gift.
Yeah.
I think God gives you a gift. And if you don't share it with the world, it's going to go to somebody else. That's my personal belief. So I tell people, I need you to get your gift tuned up. And by doing that, I think you need to, and if you can't afford it, if you can't afford creative coaching, I want you to go, and I give them 2 or 3 names of people that are on YouTube. Jordan is on YouTube every single day, Monday through, is he on Mondays? Tuesday through Friday. And there's a lot of really good coaches that are on there for free if you can't afford it. But when you start making wreaths, you can't afford it, and you learn to make the bigger designs. Yes, because you don't learn the bigger designs on YouTube.
No, you have to really invest in your craft. You
have to.
You have to. So you need to tell that in. Make sure you get to commune with everyone and go to a retreat, but definitely invest in your business too. Join some of these coaches and their thing. How can we find you, or let our viewers know how can they join creative coaching for the listeners who may be listening on Spotify? How can they find you on Facebook and all the things for
all the things? If you want coaching from myself or any of the Deco Exchange coaches, learnfromtammy.com is my link that you can go to. It has all of our events. Oh, we also have our this is a good little nugget. At the end of this month, we have a creative business summit. It's our creative business summit. We've never done this before. We're mixing the creative and the business coaches. Will all be live on location in New Orleans. Normally we do our creative coaching one every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
We have the business coaches coming too. So
wow.
So we have a business coaching summit at the end of this month. So you're going to want to get signed up for that, because it's going to be amazing. So learnfromtammy.com is where you can get all the info for that. And as far as my Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, all the things, it's Polka Dot Wreath Co for everything. On Etsy, I am Polka Dot Wreath Co. And I also have a sign shop that, because my husband and I last year pivoted during COVID, and we opened up a sign shop. So it's Polka Dot Sign Co. So
Oh, that's cute.
Polka Dot Wreath Co. I had to separate them out because recently Etsy has started not sending the right people. They were sending all supply people, and my wreaths were not moving. And Damon found out it's because if you have wreaths in your shop, you need to have wreaths in your shop. You can't really mix it with supplies because their algorithm is not working that way anymore.
Yeah.
So I had to split it and start over.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing.
Awesome. So I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. Y'all go out and check out learnfromtammy.com, you guys. Y'all go and check her out and make sure you get tickets for the Fill Your Creative Cup event, you guys, Halloween weekend.
Tammy's, I think it's, I've got to look. Tammy, I think it's tammyscupofcheer.com. I think tammyscupofcheer.com. Hold on, let me make sure that's right. I have so many, listen, friends, I have so many links right now. I don't know, and she never believes me. I'm like, I'm so confused. She gets so aggravated at me, but I'm like, Mel, there's too many links. I'm so confused. But I think it's tammyscupofcheer.com. I'm pretty positive. I literally have to. GoDaddy loves me. That's all I'm saying. I'm sure that's correct because it is tammyscupofcheer.com.
Tammyscupofcheer.com.
That's where you can do the in-person tickets there and learn about what you want to with our event because it's going to be amazing, amazing, amazing. We are super excited.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Business. We got all up in your business today, girl, and I appreciate you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, you guys, we'll be back on next Sunday with Donna Mullen. She is the owner of On a Whim Wreaths and Decor. So we'll be back on at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time right here at Mood Makers Home Decor. And thank you all so much for joining us today. And we'll see you next time. Y'all have a good day. Bye.